How is the most secure prison on the planet actually built? What conditions do inmates face inside India's most notorious prisons? And how are the world's most dangerous criminals, those serving life sentences, kept under control? Today, you'll get the answers to all of these questions, plus the most shocking and fascinating details about prisons around the world. In this episode, I'll show you the most secure prison on Earth, -1 that no one has ever escaped from, and I'll break down the harshest, most impenetrable prisons on the planet. You're watching Top Gun. Let's go. ADX Florence. Many of you may have never heard of a prison called ADX Florence, but this is the facility, also known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies, that's considered the most secure, most impenetrable prison in the world. Escaping from here is impossible. No one has ever managed to do it, not once. This is a federal supermax prison, the highest level of security, the strictest conditions, and total control over every inmate. Opened in 1994, ADX Florence was designed to hold 490 inmates, but today it houses only around 380 people. Not a lot for a prison, especially one spread across more than 20 hectares of land. But make no mistake, this place holds only the most dangerous inmates in the world. When the prison was designed, authorities set one clear goal: to eliminate any risk of attacks on staff and completely rule out escape. And they succeeded. The prison has 6 security levels, from the highest possible security down to units with slightly fewer restrictions. Inmates in the highest security level are locked in solitary confinement for 23 hours a day. They can't tell where they are inside the prison. They don't even know which direction is north or south. There are windows, but you don't see mountains or the sky. Just a thin strip of light so you don't forget that daytime still exists. Almost everything is made of concrete. The bed, the table, even the chair. The shower runs on a timer, so no one can flood the cell. All contact with the outside world is forbidden. Inmates are under constant surveillance. The prison is packed with motion sensors and surrounded by barbed wire fences nearly 4 meters high. Bottom line, no matter how hard you try, escaping from this place is simply impossible. Black Dolphin. Black Dolphin is one of the most notorious prisons in all of Russia, and without question, the most secure and impenetrable prison in the country. And that's no surprise. This is where Russia's most dangerous and terrifying criminals are held, all serving life sentences. Right now, around 700 inmates are locked up here, while the staff numbers are even higher, about 900 personnel. The prison enforces strict isolation between inmates. Cells usually hold 2 to 4 prisoners, but the most dangerous offenders are kept in solitary confinement. Inmates live under an extremely strict regime and are under constant surveillance. Whenever a prisoner leaves their cell, they are escorted by guards, and even a handler with a dog follows them. Guards patrol the cell blocks every 15 minutes. The cells themselves are basically a cage inside a cage, with massive steel bars separating inmates from the doors and windows. It's no wonder that not a single life-sentenced inmate has ever escaped from here. Minnesota Correctional Facility, Oak Park Heights. Oak Park Heights is designed to hold the most dangerous offenders and inmates who require the highest level of control. Built in 1982, it wasn't meant to scare anyone. It was built to work. The prison is architecturally carved into a hillside, covering more than 160 acres of land. No guard towers, no floodlights, no show of brutality, just concrete, steel, and calculation. Every movement is scheduled, every routine is controlled, and when a cell door closes, it does so almost silently. Security level, 5, maximum. Cell size for inmates, 7 by 10 feet. The toilet and sink are made of steel, impossible to break. At Oak Park Heights, inmates barely ever see each other. It's hard to make deals, hard to plan anything, hard even to know who's nearby. Not because the guards are cruel, but because the system leaves no gaps. In decades of operation, there hasn't been a single successful escape. No tunnels, no takeovers, no legends, and that is perhaps its defining feature. Oak Park Heights isn't a prison about pain. It isn't a prison about fear. It's a prison about control and informated, where even the thought of escape feels completely out of place. Port Louis Prison. Port Louis is an unusual little town in Ireland with a population of just around 20,000. Yet this tiny town has gained worldwide fame thanks to one of the most secure and reliable prisons on the planet. It's also one of the oldest operating prisons in the world, built back in the 1830s. Today, anyone accused of crimes against the state is sent straight here. Because of the prison's unique security measures, it's under constant supervision by soldiers from the Irish Army, guarding it 24/7. A unit roughly the size of a platoon, armed with rifles and heavy machine guns, patrols the prison complex. High walls surround the perimeter, equipped with surveillance cameras and motion sensors. The prison is officially designed to hold 226 adult male inmates under normal conditions. But as of the 8th of January 2026, it's operating well over capacity. Around 303 prisoners were housed at Port Louis prison, about 135% of its official limit. Of those, 28 inmates had to sleep on mattresses on the floor because there simply weren't enough beds. Jincheng Prison. Jincheng Prison is considered one of the most secure prisons not only in China, but in the entire world. It's the most secretive and mysterious prison in the country, one that officials almost never talk about publicly. Built in 1,958 inches, the suburbs of Beijing, this is not a prison for ordinary criminals. This is a prison for people you're not supposed to talk about. Jincheng holds political prisoners, as well as corrupt officials of every level, from small-time bribe takers to people who once had real influence over the country's leadership, until they were caught taking bribes. Inmates here don't even have names. They're identified only by a 2-number code. Starvation, brutal discipline, forced labor, and endless restrictions. That's just a small part of what prisoners here are forced to endure. Escaping from this place is not an option. Jincheng has some of the tallest guard towers in the world. More than 5,000 police officers monitor the inmates. The prison was recently modernized, with advanced surveillance cameras and cutting-edge security technology. A successful escape from Jincheng is, for all practical purposes, impossible. Fuchu. In Western civilization, the focus is on physical barriers, massive structures, concrete, steel, and maximum isolation. But in Asia, control works differently. Here, criminals are reprogrammed through ancient traditions and a regime that can only be described as brutal. That's exactly how things work at Fuchu Prison, located on the outskirts of Tokyo. The prison opened back in 1935, and its philosophy hasn't changed since. If a system works perfectly, force is unnecessary. An inmate at Fuchu doesn't wake up to noise, but to a signal. Meals are timed to the minute. Movement happens only on command. Silence is the default setting. Even during family visits, inmates are advised to speak as little as possible. They're not allowed to look guards in the eye. They're forbidden from talking to other inmates during meals. In fact, even looking in another prisoner's direction can get you punished. Mistakes here aren't punished with shouting or chaos. They're simply not allowed to happen. Fuchu holds murderers, Yakuza members, and dangerous criminals. But unlike Western prisons, this place doesn't break people publicly. It rewrites behavior. Wash your hair on a day when you're only allowed to rinse your face? Solitary confinement. Address a guard without saying chief or sir? Solitary confinement. Mess up a ritual? Solitary confinement. And inside solitary, inmates are often forced to kneel for hours. All of this is designed to erase permanently any desire to ever break the law again. Because of these methods, and the prison's extreme level of control, even the thought of breaking the rules here feels out of place. That's why there are no known successful escapes from Fuchu Prison. Arthur Road. Arthur Road is one of the most notorious and brutal prisons in India, located in the heart of Mumbai. Security here isn't built on high-tech systems. It's built on overcrowding, control, and constant pressure. The prison dates back to 1926, from the era of British rule. It was built for a different pace of life. But the city grew. The prison stayed the same. Today, a monorail line runs right next to the prison, allowing passengers to look straight into inmates' windows. The biggest problem here is permanent overcrowding. Arthur Road was designed for about 1,100 inmates, but right now, nearly 3,200 prisoners are crammed inside. Inmates sleep on the floor, with barely enough space to stretch out at full length. In this prison, solitary confinement is considered a gift from fate. The living conditions are horrifying. Extreme overcrowding creates perfect conditions for disease to spread. It's no surprise that during the pandemic, more than 100 inmates here were infected with COVID at the same time. This prison holds terrorists, mafia members, serial killers, and defendants in some of India's most high-profile cases. Some of them wait for trial for years. Arthur Road is a prison of waiting. And waiting here can break you harder than the sentence itself. Let me know in the comments, do you think there will ever be someone who can escape the most heavily guarded prison in the world? And if you found this interesting, smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe.